innocence.
Mm-hmm.
Now, during the voir dire, actually, I didn't even think. I thought I had gone to jury duty so many times, got a number, waited in the courtroom, never got in the box because there were so many people, and then it was just like, okay, the jury's been chosen, goodbye, whatever. So I was very surprised when I got chosen to sit in the box, and I thought, okay, let's just see what happens with the voir dire. It was a very, very interesting process. And I think as I was looking at the defendant, and we were told that it was a first-degree murder case, my mind started working, obviously. Who did he murder? Was it his girlfriend? Was it his wife? Was it a family member? Was it a total stranger? Of course, we had no facts.
Right.
So I'm thinking, okay, this young man who was probably in his late 20s, is accused of first-degree murder. And I just felt something come over me, and I thought to myself, well, it doesn't matter at this point, in my mind, who he could have murdered. I just sat there thinking, if I was him, please, dear Lord in heaven, let these 12 people presume I am innocent until the case comes out. And I think that I just, I never thought about it so deeply as I did when I was sitting in that seat. Well, it was a. Go ahead.
Oh, I didn't know if you. I thought you were done. I'm sorry. Well, I think
that's
ahead. True. I mean, I think a lot of people who watch trials cast judgment on the jurors or their verdict or what have you. But as your experience tells you, that is something completely different. And sitting there and looking at the person and realizing that, you know, if that was someone you cared about, you, like you said, you would want the jury to have that presumption of innocence. And I think some of that can also be said in terms of the death penalty as well, that you would want people that were open-minded and would consider both alternatives and just weren't out for the sort of vengeance that the public may want. So I think you got a good chance to experience a different perspective from being a trial watcher to actually understanding the process and becoming close to being a part of it.
Yes, and it really was an experience that I wouldn't trade for the world. Even though, I mean, I had the experience because an innocent person died. It sounds incongruous, but
right.
I just think that it is so important for people when they get their jury duty notice, just go and do your duty. I mean, everyone deserves a fair trial. Now, of course, I must tell you, he was guilty, very guilty. But I felt good with our decision when we did all come to that decision, that we listened to the evidence and all of the elements of the crime had been proven, and yes, he was guilty. And it was not a death penalty case.
Right.
And let me see what else, because you guys talked a lot. Let me see what else. Oh, books. Okay. Defense attorneys writing books and prosecutors writing books. I kind of have a hard time with either party writing a book before any appellate issues are over with. Of course, I want to read them, and I've read your first one, but I haven't read your second one yet, and I am in the process of reading Mr. Martinez's book. But I think that all books should be off limits until the appellate process is completed. And if there is anyone that I would love to write books, it would be the judges that hear the cases, because you obviously are going to have a slant towards the defense, and a prosecutor is going to have their slant. And I would hope that a judge could write a book, if they were going to, about a case, and they would give their thoughts and be completely fair. Because judges, they're not allowed to talk. They never talk. You never hear what their opinions are one way or the other. But they're the ones who I'd like to see write books. And as far as television, cameras in the courtroom, I have to disagree with you again, Mr. Nurmi. Like I said, since the early 90s, I've been watching, and I think what makes it unbearable for some people now is the social media part of it. Because when I was watching trials in the very beginning, there was no social media to speak of, and there were legal commentators and all of that, but it was nothing like it is now. And going back to the atmosphere in Jodi's trial, as I sat there for 2 days, the courtroom to me was perfect, but outside, that's where the circus was. So I don't know how that resonated with the jury. I don't know if they were aware of the circus. I mean, maybe they were. I mean, you have to be honest and say, yeah, they had to have been aware of the circus. But I think the circus is on the outside. And I think that's really all I have to say. I'm happy that Hulk Hogan did win the case, because I don't care what he did. And I'm glad the jury, I agree with you, I'm glad the jury looked past his indiscretions and looked at the case for what it was. And it was a huge invasion of privacy. And I'm just very, very glad that they saw it that way. And I don't really have an opinion about how much he was awarded. I don't 100% believe that he said it wasn't about the money, because I think he wanted money out of this. But I think in a civil case, when a jury does award a lot of money and beyond what is being asked of them to award, I truly believe that that's the only time a jury can say, you know what, we are really mad and we can dole out the punishment. Not the judge. It's, they are totally in control. And I think that's a good thing. So I'm glad he won. I'm sure that the appeals are being filed right now, and we'll see what happens. And I think I've talked your ears off, haven't I, you guys? I'm sorry. I always go on and on.
Well, it was nice talking with you, Sarah.
Well, thank you for listening to me. And, Jordan, thank you again for having a great show.
Oh,
all right,
you
guys take care.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Have a good week, Sarah.
How about just a couple more calls, Jordan?
Yeah, we're not showing.
Oh, that's it, huh?
Yeah, slow night tonight for the calls.
All right, well, good. Fair enough.
Yes. So we are good with that. I want to thank you and mention your book, Trapped with Miss Arias, Inside the Jodi Arias Trial by Kirk Nurmi, is available on Amazon, and that is a pretty good book. Very good book, I should say.
I was going to say pretty good. Come on now.
I changed it. I just changed it to very good. But it's definitely eye-opening and interesting. And if you're a fan of the trial, you should definitely read it. And I will endorse for sure. And definitely appreciate you coming on the program. And also fun talking some sports. I always feel like, as bad as life sometimes could be, and it can be pretty bad, sometimes some sports is the best escape that you could ask for. Would you agree?
That's right, it is. I said that's what I was talking about, not going home and watching more legal drama, but going home and watching a ball game, and I'm looking forward next time we talk to see how our World Series predictions are looking.
Oh, absolutely. And this Sunday is opening day, I believe.
Yes, indeed. I guess ESPN's running a couple days worth of baseball, so we should get our money's worth in the next couple of weeks here.
It's not a special anymore.
No.
Real quick, was that you an old-fashioned type person? or do you like the fact that it's Mets play Yankees, White Sox play the Cubs, Seattle could play the Mets, things like that?
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, I'm cognizant of the tradition of baseball, but and I haven't been to one yet. But I'm sure a Mets Yankee game out in the Bronx is a good time. So
especially when they're both doing good. Yes.
Yeah. So from that perspective,
ago.
it brings a lot of fan interest, and so
yeah.
I'm sure it's great. So anything that brings interest to baseball, I think, is great, and I'm open to new and innovative ideas. I try not to be so stuck in the mud with my baseball.
There you go. Kirk Nurmi, everybody. Thanks, Kirk, so much for joining us, and have yourself a wonderful weekend. Always appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks, Jordan. Good to be with you.
Okay. That was Kirk Nurmi, ladies and gentlemen. He was the counsel for Jodi Arias. Next week we are scheduled to have Chris Hansen. We're scheduled to have Aphrodite Jones. I want to give a shout out to Mary. She's been making me some awesome pictures lately. If you go get a chance, check it out. It is awesome. So she does some great work. Ask to join her group, which is called Trial and Things. Also want to give a nice shout out to Maddie, who's always been a good supporter of the program. But like I said, Chris Hansen's scheduled to be with us at least. I never like to say 100% anybody's going to be with us because something could change. But that's that. Tom Mesereau, April 21st, will be joining us. That should be fun. Great lawyer. Hasn't been on in a long time, which makes it very interesting. So definitely look forward to that. And Aphrodite Jones will end our April as we will go into May, maybe with the author of the Jodi Arias book, Shannon Hogan, will join us in May, as she told me. So that's that. There's just so many I would love to give a shout out to. I don't have everybody in front of me. Debbie, Lynn Lascaster, Sarah, who calls, Stuart Wilkes, who's a very wonderful listener. Appreciate you guys so much. And that is it for tonight. We're going to go Throwback Thursday with one of my favorite songs, Rod Stewart, Your Heart Be Free Tonight, The Young Turks. See you next